Hello and welcome to another What's Up with me, Slidell. Today we're looking at one of the less popular tanks in the game, the T28 Prototype. Now this is unpopular for a whole lot of reasons. It's slow, yes it is. It's got an open top, so Artie loves to take you apart. Yep, that's true. And your armour isn't fantastic. It can be punched through very easily from the sides and the back, and even quite easily through from the front if you know where to aim. Having said all of that, it's one of my favourite tanks. There's two or three tanks that I love to go back to again and again. This is one of them. I've played about 240 games in it, and here I am today on one of the newer maps on Stalingrad, and I'm actually platooned with a good friend of mine, with Wappy, who is in his Ferdinando, as it's called, and this copy of XVM the Elephant, which actually was its historical name anyway. And when I'm starting this side of Stalingrad, I always head off towards around about the F2 area. I've got a favourite spot on the corner of a building that I like to snipe from. Actually, I tend to go there if I'm using heavy tanks or pretty bulky TDs. And that's my plan, is to head off straight that way. And I've actually, at the time of recording this, Wappy and I were actually sat in the same room, so I'm talking to him literally not over a headset, but he's sat about 2 meters away from me, and he's heading off just in front of me there. The Ferdinand's a bit quicker than my tank, so he's going to get there first. But we decide we're going to try and take control of that side of the map. The one thing that I didn't mention earlier, this does have so many downsides, this tank, but there's a couple of upsides. The obvious one being it's got a turret, albeit slow turning, and the other thing is that gun. That 120mm American gun is found on a few vehicles, including things like the T34, and the other T28, the one that's the non-turret version, and it's a formidable gun. It punishes very well at this level, and it even works up at tier 10 pretty effectively. It's got 248mm of penetration, so it can't go through the front of you and things like an IS-7 or a mouse if you can aim correctly. Now this is my one worry when I go to this spot, is I have to pass by an opening in between these two buildings here, and I'm aiming my turret up there, A, so I might get a snapshot of somebody, but also so that at least if somebody shoots me, they might hit the front of my turret where my mantle is, which is quite heavily armoured. There's quite a lot of us going this way, so I'm a little bit concerned that I'm too slow to really relocate. This is the building that I like to park up, just peep around the corner. Now unfortunately this KV4 decides he's having that spot. Now I don't mean that arrogantly that it's my spot, but he decides to massively over angle in his attempt to side scrape, and that's why I put into chat just something like, you know, that's just really world class play, that is. If you're going to side scrape, then at least don't over angle and give him the whole side of your tank. He decides to push on, so I think, you know what, I can follow him, because and then I spot T34, not very much of him, but enough to put a big hit on him, 453, which is a pretty high roll. And then I thought, you know, I'm going to push on, because that KV4 is going to attract the attention, and I can hopefully use him as a bit of a meat shield. He'll get shot, and I can get my shots away at others. And there's one or two others going this way as well, so I'm quite keen to sort of push on ahead and see what I can do. Already our team's losing though, so we're 3-1 down, and we're going to have to make sure we push this out of the map. A Hellcat pops out and has a go at me, and surprisingly doesn't actually penetrate me, because the side of my armour is very poor. It's only about 50mm, and I think, you know, I'm going to close him down now. I'm going to push onto him and worry him a little bit. We're now losing 4-1. Things are not looking good. That KV4 hasn't yet dealt with the tanks that are T34 in front of him. We're heavily one-sided. There's a lot of us on this left-hand side, and the enemy are steamrolling down the beach on the other side, and it's becoming a bit of a concern. And then I think to myself, you know what, slow or not, to push on would be madness. We're now 5-1 down. I need to turn around and get onto this Black Prince and this IS-3 that are down here. And I'm saying to Wappy, my good friend, I'm saying to him, you know, I'm coming back now. I'm going to try and hurt these two heavies. And he says, yep, I'm going to go across as well. The two of us are trying to pincer them. We're 7-2 down. This game's starting to look like it's lost already. But for the fact that there's Black Prince, oh, you know what, have that shell straight in your back. Now this Black Prince does a crazy thing. He has got a fast reloading gun. It's got 171mm of penetration. It really isn't going to get through the bounces. And he does a mad thing, because he leaves the back of me facing him, turns his turret 180 degrees towards me. So it's a matter of seconds until I can think, you know, thanks very much, see you, cheerio. And look, this game's not looking so bad now, it's 5-7. Now my friend Wappy's in the one-on-one with an IS-3, and he's a very good player, Wappy is, and I've known him for a very long time. But an IS-3 is a good tank, and I'm trying to get there to help, but I'm too slow. And then I say to him, you know what, as you reverse, he's pushing towards you. And I tell him verbally I say, just keep reversing, keep coming back, and I know that IS will follow you, and then I can finish them off for you. So we've got this back to 6-9, it's still a bit too close. We know they're close to our cap. We know that they've got some pretty good tanks left. They've still got 2 or 3 strong tanks left. They've got a T32, they've got a KV4, and I think, you know what, I'm going to have to try and help out decapping here. We've got a KV4, that guy earlier who was the Crackers player who has gone onto the cap. There's their KV4, and I get a nice clean shot straight through the front of him early on. This VK doesn't do a lot all game really, he just kind of drives around a lot. You'll see him doing a lot of that later on. I have another go at the KV. I think about the KV4, and I see there's a Tiger being parked in the open. And I take my first damage of the game. Panther pops a shell through me, and then is daft enough to sit there and wait to see what happens next, which is his demise. So I've now got myself 3 kills now, and there's that Tiger P still parked up, showing me side arm, so that, thank you. And they're trying to cap. Now they're trying to cap with a couple of lower tier tanks that aren't particularly well armoured. He's showing me his whole side, and I do reload in about 8.8 seconds. I can reload pretty fast with this gun, and I'm just going to work here to put damage into him one after the other. This KV4 is nearly dead, but he's quite heavily dug in there, and I decided to do a job on him, but I bounced on the front of him, and I don't want to sit in front of him because he's got a good gun. It's 10-11, it's a close game. KV4 then damages me, and I managed to finish him off, so I've got 4 kills. This Easy 8's going to go for a run. He's not really sure where he's going, and I'm trying to get shots on him, and he crashes into a building, and I want to finish him, but then our Tiger 2 basically parks in front of him, and I can't do anything to stop this. And I'm trying to get around. The Tiger 2 bounces on him, and my friend Wacky's saying to him, back up so other people can help you a little bit, but he wants the kill. I put one straight through the turret. It's 12 all. Their last 3 players were last seen down on the beach. The T32, their prototype, and the T28 anti-tank. And I'm on 5 kills and thinking to myself, you know what, I think I wouldn't mind a top gun out of this. So as quick as my tank will allow, which isn't very quick, I'm going to go off down towards the beach, towards where they were last seen, and see what we can do. The Tiger 2 is sort of coming in the same direction, which makes sense. We may as well stick together, so at least if we see somebody, we can work together. And the VK 3001P is still just basically fapping about, driving around, doing a whole lot of nothing, which he does the entire game. Well, that's not strictly true. You'll see later on he does do one thing, which is get killed, but that's giving the game away a little bit there. Sorry about that, spoiler alert. So I'm going down to the beach. I am taking a bit of a risk here, because I'm now thinking that their prototype and their T32 are probably dug in and just waiting for us to drive out in front of it. And I have to go out showing at least part of the side of my tank. So, you know, I'm a little bit concerned. I'm expecting actually as I come around this corner to get a shot straight in the side of me, and it doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. So as quickly as I can, I get my front facing forward, so at least if they are sniping from 200 or 300 metres away, there's a good chance they'll bounce on me. My frontal armour is 200mm, plus that it's a bit curvy. And then the T32 gets spotted by the VK, and I think I'll go down and help the VK. Turns out this T32, which has lost his connection, or just got sick playing, but he's AFK. And I think, you know what, cheap shot or not, I'll cut some damage on him, shot the wall into him, and back up a little bit in case he is actually still playing. But I notice his turret's facing backwards. I'll have another shot at you, thank you very much, more damage. And then I'm thinking, oh, I'm not going to get my top gun, because the VK is going to finish him off. And unbelievably, the VK bounces on him, even though he's stationary and parked in the open. So there's my 6th kill, top gun. I'm now on a good bit of damage there. I've got some 3,000 damage, and I'm pushing on. We still haven't seen their prototype. We still haven't seen their T28 AT. So I'm just keeping going as far as I can and as fast as I can, which, as I've said, isn't particularly quick. So. This is really showcasing a lot of the strengths of the prototype. Yes, it does have weaknesses. The speed is a bit of a letdown, and that open top turret. I have been in games before. I was actually in a game yesterday on Prokhorovka, where just an open map, artillery blind fired into a spot where I happened to be not camping but driving past, and I got one shot killed, because an open top vehicle does get wrecked by artillery if it hits. The secret, trying to do your best for that not to happen, is at least if you know you've been spotted, keep moving. If you've been spotted, sorry, keep moving, and use as much cover as you can. So there aren't any RT in this game, but you know, if there were, I'd be driving along this edge of this ridge anyway to try and make the undulations and the sloping of the land increase the likelihood of the arc missing me completely or splashing. Now I type in the chat there, I say VK, you know, so can you be ready to go back, because me and the Tiger are not particularly quick tanks. Can you be ready to go back if they start a cap? I'm starting to suspect they've gone all the way around the other side of the map, and two of them are going to arrive in cap and we won't get back in time to lose this game. And he doesn't even bother answering me, as I say, basically just nothing the entire game. He doesn't even say, yes, I'll do that, or no, I won't do that. He just follows me, driving around, having a good look at me, basically. Tiger 2 has now just spotted their both of their tanks, the Prototype and the AT, and taken some damage from them. So I'm going to try and get there to help as quick as I can, but I'm going uphill in a slow tank. I tell him in chat, say, wait for some support, you know, don't try and be a hero. Don't get me wrong, his XVM says that he's a good player, and the Tiger 2 is a good tank. But anybody that tries to take on two tanks at once at this level is sort of asking for a bit of trouble. Both of their players are not fools, they're not bad players, and they can easily take down that Tiger 2 if they work together and pincer him. So I just say, well, wait for support. He doesn't answer me, but he seems to follow that sort of suggestion anyway. I wouldn't call it an instruction because I'm not his boss, I'm not his commander. But he tucks in behind a building and seems to wait for us to get there. And again, the VK is just driving along, doing a whole lot of nothing. And I'm actually starting to think to myself now, you know, I could even get a Radley Walters out of this, because if I got a bit of luck, I could finish these other two guys off and get a Radley. I have to see how it goes. There's the T28 AT's come out for another look, and I'm heading towards him to start with, thinking, yeah, I'll do some damage to him if I can get there. That's my plan. It's just to generally go and support the Tiger, thinking that the Prototype might have gone all the way around the other side. I know the Prototype's low, I'm in one myself, and the VK finally starts to go a different route. He starts to drive along. I can't see the T25 there. I'm waiting to see if I get a shot, but he's not daft enough to come on, especially when the Tiger puts a shell into him. So I just think, well, I'll plod on towards the other side and see what happens. And yep, here we go then, and the VK finally does probably his only sensible contribution to the game. He spots a bad guy, and there it is. He spots the Prototype, who's actually pretty much in the same place as where he was, and I think the Prototype's more of a threat. I've got to get towards him first, and he's coming forward, so I aim and block my shot completely. Now that's my first and only mistake of the game. He puts a good shot into the front of me, I mess up my shot, and then it's roles reversed. I put a good shot in him, blocks his shot, and my shot had tracked him. I know that I reload probably before he fixes his track, so I'm just focusing on that wheel with the Tiger finishes him off anyway. And you see my not so subtle friend in chat probably there saying to the VK, you know, if you'd want to, you could have shot that T28 Prototype in the back while he was facing this way and had yourself a kill or done some damage. He has, as I said earlier, just done the only thing he actually did do, which is get himself killed. And now I'm thinking, well, if the Tiger goes one way, I'll go the other way. I'm actually thinking that the T28 AT is going to go on a run for it, because he's quite a quick tank, and he's going to just outrun us and drive away. So the Tiger stays in chat, and I just think, well, I think he's gone. I really do think he's gone. He's driven away, he's got away from us. And then I've got to this corner of this building, and he's actually just sat there waiting for me. And I get my 7th kill, and I do a lot of damage. And that was my mastery badge. I also got a high caliber award, a Top Gun award, and several of these slightly lesser awards, doing a lot of damage, a lot of experience as well. That was a ×3 experience, so I got 6,300, a total of 4,406 damage and 7 kills. I'm very pleased with that, and because my friend Fwaffy did 2,800, it actually was also my TD mission 14 for the T28 concept tank as well. So of my 19 shots, 18 hit the target. Even after paying for all of my expenses, I still came out with 27,700 profit. It's not quite the hated tank that everybody says it is. Personally, I love it. You can decide for yourself. I hope you've enjoyed watching. Please subscribe. I'm Slidal. Goodbye.